The multi-award winning Queensland-based company Shake&Stir Theatre are celebrating their 10th anniversary and rounding out their season with the return to the stage of the classic Australian play and multi-award winner Tequila Mockingbird. It stars some familiar faces including Bryan Probets and Barbara Lowing. Barbara, how does it feel like getting back into Tequila Mockingbird?
So much fun. So much fun. It's the original cast. We know each other. We know what to expect of characters, what not to expect from characters, because it's a constantly moving and changing organism. And it's heaven. It's just a yum big feast that we've been given again to eat.
Well, we can see why it's come back, Bryan, because it had great success when it first staged. Back in 2014, I think it was nominated for
14
was the nominations,
For Matilda Awards? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It did very well. It was just very well received, not just critically, but also just by the audiences. It resonates extremely well with the message that it sends, and I think it's done in such a way that's an hour and a half. It's very sharp. It's short, sharp, very impactful, and I think that's what struck a lot of audiences at that time, 2013. It was a really hard-hitting message, but done with a bit of humour as well, many facets used. So yeah, it was very, very impactful.
And I think as it was one of the first shows for Shake&Stir, it was also the first show that really, as Bryan said, spoke to the younger audiences.
Oh, enormously. I mean, it covers a huge age range spectrum, but we had 2 schools audiences in yesterday as our first day of performances, and they're so engaged, and they attach themselves to certain characters, and they are vocal about other characters. But it's a very, very powerful and very unrestrained production. They think at the beginning, there's about 3 or 4 scenes in, they think, wow, that's crossing the line somewhat, and then it just gets worse from there. So they're really confronted with a lot of powerful stuff.
But as in any good drama, I mean, if you don't get them in that first 10 minutes, you may not get them in for the rest of the show, so it's important you drag them in with that storyline.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You've got to have a little hook to get them in at the beginning, and then you go on that journey together, because I think it's a complicity thing that you have with the audience. So you set up a few things and you go, okay, here we go, you're going to come with us? Good, right, bang, and you draw them in. And this show does it really well. Yeah, like Barb said, it just has a few little teasers, and then when they swallow those, then you take them on a darker journey.
Yeah,
really.
Much darker journey. Yeah.
Of course, it deals with some very important, but also some very confronting issues.
Absolutely. It deals with racism, alcoholism, domestic violence, poverty in different ways and shapes and forms, the hardship of living in the country, and what people in the country, the pressure that they're put under on many and varying degrees. So it really does cover with people of all ages. So it really does cover a very large spectrum of things that happen. I grew up on a property outside of a country town, and it's very real what happens.
And yeah, I think that helps the universalness of the story, the fact that we have set it in this fictional town, but really it could be any town in Australia in a way.
Or any city.
Yeah, any city. That's
any
exactly
suburb.
Yeah, really, because it's that well written that yes, it can be specific, but it's also specific about human nature, and human nature is universal. So, and the themes that it's dealing with are, very accessible.
Yeah.
Did you need much coercion to get you back into the show?
No.
No, I want you to think about that.
It was an instant. It was an instant. Yes, it was.
I was exactly the same. I remember sitting at the bar about a year ago, and they said, "Probably we're thinking about Tequila Mockingbird again. Would you do it?" And I went, "Yes."
Yeah.
I'll be available. So
I'll make myself available.
Yeah, for sure.
You just, apart from working with the company, which we love.
Incredible.
you just, and with even if it wasn't the original team, I just love the play, but the bonus is it's the original cast and company, and
it is such a really good chance to revisit it, to undo the first choices that we did the first time round, because the first time round it was a work in development as well, so we had 3 or 4 weeks, but it was a brand new work, so we went 3 weeks sitting around the table, 1 week on the floor. So basically you went with your first choice about how to play the character. This time round, 3 years later, it's really, even though we've had another week to put it all back together,
we had a week.
this time last Monday, none of us knew our lines or anything like that. This time last week. And then we're a week later and we're in front of an audience.
For the third time.
For the third time. So it's just bizarre. Because it's a remount, they don't have any mercy. It's like, okay, bang, you're on. Because I just walked out on a show on the Sunday, then went straight into rehearsals on the Monday going, what am I doing? And then now I know a week later what I'm doing. But yeah, it's a good chance to revisit your choices and to actually dig a bit deeper now in that time.
And the characters have had time to marinate. If
I like that, marinade.
Yes.
Because it's the sort of play that stays with you. And speaking for myself, one particular character of mine has stayed because she became infamous, really.
But she's a character that we all know, which is the great thing about it, but also the frightening thing about it.
Yes, I mean that's what all the characters people can relate to.
Yeah.
But the play itself was always in my mind, the characters and the story, and you become far more aware of situations around you as well, where you just think, oh, I've been there, I've seen that, I've portrayed that, or I've been involved in that, and we aren't lying. It isn't just an act. It is true. It's real.
It's a great finale for their 10th anniversary season this year, to bring this classic back on stage, and from your enthusiasm alone, that's enough reason to go and get a ticket, I reckon.
Oh, absolutely. And we're only on to the 15th in Brisbane, but we do have a state tour coming up.
For about 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks,
Yeah.
Well, we wish you all the very best for the continued success of the show here in Brisbane, and then, of course, for the tour. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you
pleasure.
so much.
Thank you very
Yay!
much. Thank you.
Don't miss this fantastic piece of Australian theatre that is a multi-award winner. Tequila Mockingbird by Shake&Stir Theatre Company, coming to a venue near you. For full details of bookings, check out shakeindstir.com.au.